right, beautiful people, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's another lovely Wednesday afternoon, and it's my pleasure to say welcome to yet another amazing episode of Flipside on Independent Television, reaching you live from the city of Benin. Now, for starters, Flipside is a socio-cultural show, a unique one at that tends to focus on some topical issues in the society. You know, some of those issues that bedevil us as a people. Okay, and we just try to examine them and, bring clarity to them, just so the people can get to, have a clear understanding of them. It comes your way every Wednesday on this station. My name is Harry Igboje, and it's always a pleasure to have you join me on the show. Now, today we're having a very, very interesting conversation, something that has to do with human development. Now, I always say that the concept of human development cannot be, overemphasized, because vacuum is not allowed in nature. In fact, there's an adage that says that, nature abhors vacuum, all right? And we really can't afford to be static. So there is need for constant, growth. And that's basically the essence of today's topic. And to do this with me is someone who is a very, very industrious and, of course, amazing personality. He's been in the field of human development for a long time, and he's still in that field. And as a matter of fact, he's in town, to do what he does best. I actually don't have much to say about him because I believe he is going to be introducing himself. And of course, in the course of the program, you're going to get to know all that there is to know about him. He goes by the name of Dr. Stephen Oshoke Enike Matthew. And of course, he is a global management consultant. It's good to have you on the show, bro.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome to Flipside.
Thank you, everyone.
Your maiden appearance, huh?
Yes, and it feels so good to be here. And,
it's indeed exciting to have you on the show. So, I mean, this is one topic that I love to, talk about: human capacity development. Because I, for one, am a fan of human capacity development. As a matter of fact, I believe that the best gift you can give to yourself as a person is to constantly develop yourself. You understand? I've never been a fan of being on one spot for too long. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what we're talking about today. Now, what is human capacity development? Maybe we should start on that note. How would you define human capacity development?
Thank you so much, and thank you to our very highly esteemed guests and viewers. Human capacity development, basically, to a layman, let's be very practical, it refers to the process of equipping people with the knowledge, the skill, the competence, the capacity to enable them reach their full potentials. And human capacity development basically is entrenched with 6 major foundations. There are 6 fundamentals of human capacity development.
Okay.
So to build a people, you have to invest in building their capacity. To build a nation, people must develop the capacity to be able to build a nation. Okay. So you will also say that a nation is as good as those who are building the nation.
Wow. Okay.
And the human resource of a nation is more important than the oil, the land, the natural resources. So the 6...
actually getting there, when you say capacity, what exactly are we looking at? Because some persons will tell you that there is mental capacity, there's financial capacity, right? Which society tends to celebrate more.
There are 6 core major fundamentals of the human capacity development index. 6 core.
Okay, let's have
You have education, which is formal and informal. You have vocational and skill training. You have health and wellness. You have leadership development. You also have institutional development. You have information and innovation technology.
Wow, that's a whole lot.
So these 6 core make up the body of human capacity development.
Okay.
And if you are looking at that with a view of building a nation, if these 6 are not in present, we can build
a nation.
So we are building education, both formal and informal, because those are also tools to develop people, and to also give people the skills required to create wealth.
Especially in this era where education doesn't seem to be
so
giving
attractive
much,
anymore. So it's either we are attaining formal education or we are attaining informal education. For those who cannot, then vocational education is there. You acquire a skill, get some vocational training and all that. Oh, I don't want to go to school. Okay, I want to be a health coach. I want to be a nutritionist. You build capacity in that area. You can create value from that also. You can create wealth from it. So, okay, I don't want to do all that. Okay, let's build leadership capacity.
Okay.
Let's invest in building leadership capacity for the next generation, even as we whatever we have in Nigeria today. If that's not possible, then you are talking about institutional development, where we are going to build stronger institutions than stronger individuals. So what we have in Nigeria today now is we have very strong individuals without strong institutions.
With weak institutions.
There are even no comparison. We can't even say they are weak. There are no institutions.
Oh, really?
The individuals superimpose those institutions. So it's not even being weak. We have invested so much in building individuals than building strong institutions.
Is that inherently a bad thing?
Of course, it's a bad thing. It breeds dictatorship. It breeds lack of inclusion in governance and leadership, where it is one man's will that millions of people must follow. It's no longer a collective thing as to this is what we want, this is our values. No, it's not. It's an individual. And when that individual is varying, there's nobody to checkmate the individual. It is institutions that does the checkmating. So human capacity development is an interesting theme on its own. And nations that invest in building human capacity tend to enjoy sustainable growth more than nations that don't.
Okay, now they say charity begins at home. So let's focus on our own.
On our own.
All right. So would you say Nigeria is a nation that invests in human capacity development? The answer is no. Okay, why would you say that?
All right, because we have built a culture now in Nigeria that is driven a lot by money worship.
Yeah.
It's all about money now.
How much money you have and control.
Even politics is also being driven by the money you have and all that. It's no longer about the value that you possess, the impact that you are willing to offer to communities, to families, to society, and to the nation at large. So you have people who have money from whatever sources, they are the ones who run the show. So, and then that also will make education less attractive to the younger generation. So the average young person in Nigeria today wants to just make money, doesn't want to go to school anymore.
I'm actually glad you said that because, trending recently.
Yeah, I saw something even today that somebody said.
Rapper YC.
Somebody
said something about
what do you call it? The Olodo syndrome, Olodo something.
Yeah, they said it's Olodo uprising.
Yeah. And if you look at that, that in itself is not the problem. The root cause of that is the money worship. So people are focused on the material acquisitions and the flamboyance of wealth than investing in building the capacity to be able to manage that wealth when it comes.
Wow.
Is there anything wrong with making money? There's nothing wrong with making money. Whether you're making money legitimately or illegitimately, that's your cross to bear.
Okay.
Everybody needs money.
But there's something morally wrong with it.
But of course, it's entirely morally, legally also wrong with it. But we're not here to discuss the legality of that.
Absolutely.
So our discussion is centered on when this money comes, if you have not taken time to invest in building your capacity, either by obtaining formal or informal education, either by developing vocational or skill education, either by investing in building wellness and health education, or building relationship, when the money comes, you make a mess of yourself.
When you say relationship, are you talking in terms of network?
No, beyond network, a relationship here is how you interact with people. How you interact with your ecosystem. Basic interaction, mannerism, communication. You don't need to have a PhD. I saw somebody saying something that one young man is better than many PhD holders. How many PhD holders has money, because a young person seems to be making noise on social media, and I laughed. And I said that the reason why that statement can be prevalent on social media now because we don't understand the place of the academy in building our national Development Index. One person who makes money off social media cannot be compared to one person who's a PhD holder. Why? Because a PhD holder, for example, is somebody who has gone through academic process, who can build policies, who can create framework, who can create solutions to help that social media influencer who's making money on how to manage his money.
So making money is one thing, then managing it is another.
Managing is another thing. And to manage money, you need competence, you need skill, you need knowledge. And that's where the human capacity development comes in.
All right.
I saw something in research, and one former head of state in Nigeria said that Nigeria's problem is not money. Nigeria's problem is how to spend the money. And that is the fundamental root cause of the problem of Nigeria today. When the wealth came, the people who made the wealth didn't have the capacity to manage the wealth, to know what to do with the wealth.
And that has something to do with education, I guess.
Human capacity development.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Stephen Oshoke Enike Matthew, Global Management Consultant. It's been a very, very interesting conversation so far. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, in case you're just joining us, and we're having a very, very interesting conversation about the role of human capacity development in nation building. We have to go on this very important break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Please stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and I still have Dr. Stephen right here with me to discuss the role of human capacity development in nation building. Now, you spoke so much about education before we went on that break, and that gives me the impression that education is indispensable if we are going to truly develop our capacity as a people. Now, tell me how you think education can contribute to human capacity development in practical terms.
Okay, let's take it back to look at the story of Singapore, for example. Singapore became a city-state powerhouse by virtue of its investment in human capacity development.
Okay.
Formal education, informal education. Japan is ruling the technological space. Why? Because it invested a lot of money in human capacity development, especially in the informal education sector. Now, the United Nations Human Capacity Index says that nations who invest a lot in human capacity development will do 3 times more than nations with less human capacity development. Singapore is an example, Japan is an example to buttress that. So I believe strongly that education is not just about knowing how to read and write. Education is a pathway in knowing how to relate with the ecosystem itself. And that relation here talks about communication, conflict resolution, relationship management. In that communication is holistic communication anyway, because communication goes beyond just talking and hearing.
Okay.
It's about verbal communication, nonverbal communication, sign language, gesticulation.
So it's all encompassing.
All encompassing, holistic communication. How the relationship, how to do business, how to interface with
it also
people.
Include emotional intelligence?
Yes, it's all encompassing. That's where the relationship part of it comes in. Emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. So you must build capacity for all of this if you want to be able to develop economically as a nation. So we don't have people who have money and don't have emotional intelligence running.
Or like they say in our local parlance, that don't have sense.
That may be too extreme.
Okay.
So we need to invest a lot. And this investment here is not about building more schools. No, we have a lot of schools already. But the infrastructure that enables qualitable education is what we lack. And that qualitable education here basically talks about how people can enjoy the learning process. How people can learn while learning, and not just go to school to get a certificate and go out.
For the sake of it.
Yes. So we need to invest a lot in that level of infrastructure so that we can build a working community or a working nation. And then if somebody comes out and says, oh, I have a BSc in engineering, the person has a BSc in engineering. The mannerism, the disposition, the demeanor, the interaction, the communication, the charisma. And that's what education brings. It goes beyond, oh, I have money, those things are mundane things people want to use to make arguments these days. So we must take time to invest in developing the capacity in these areas so that when the money comes eventually, the money does not control us. We have the maturity, we have the competence, we have the capacity to manage the money, to control the money. Then we can distribute that wealth to serve the purpose of building the nation. And that's where we are struggling currently now. I mean, tell a young person, I interact with young people a lot about furthering your education. They tell you no. They say why? Because they want to make money. A lot of them now want to become social media content creators or streamers because they say, those people are making a lot of money.
There's a lot of money in it. All right, now in passing, you made mention of the need for skill acquisition as well. Do you think as a nation we place enough emphasis on skill acquisition? Or is that also part of education in itself?
Of course, it is part of education in itself. So I take it from before the skill acquisition to me is very fundamental. And why is it fundamental? Everybody must not be an employed labor force. There are some people that must create the jobs.
Okay.
And the only way you can create the jobs is if you have the skill to create the jobs. So if government pays a lot of attention more in beyond building nursing schools or universities or polytechnics and invest a lot more in building technical training schools so that people can go to learn proper learning of welding, proper learning of bricklaying, proper learning of this basic skill you call artisan skill. But we don't have a system that produces all of this. And that's why you bring someone to come and do something in your house and he comes and messes up the whole place because he didn't go through a proper learning
acquisition center. But whose responsibility do you think it is?
Government it is. It's government.
Okay.
If government pays a lot
solely
of attention,
government?
Yes, it's government. If government, and what does government do? Create the framework, put the standard, put the structure in place.
The enabling environment
yes,
as well.
the private sector can invest in pursuing with the standard that government has created. But there's a lot of emphasis in the normal tertiary institutions. So everybody must go to university, everybody must do JAM. Not everybody is caught out for that. There are some people that right from primary or secondary school, they should go straight to a vocational training center to go learn how to do things with their hands because that's what they are gifted for. So if you invest a lot in that, we are automatically creating employment. And this is true. There's no way you can create employment without human capital development. You can't create employment without it. And everybody must not be a banker. Everybody must not be a journalist. Everybody must not be a learned person like myself or yourself. Some people's calling and some people's gifting is in artistry. So government needs to focus a lot in providing a framework that makes that attractive. So instead of people chasing the quick money now, they go do some 2-3 years, settle, learn, and then the government produces them and empowers them with tools and enabling resources to start their own businesses. Then, with mentorship, with guidance, under a structured program, they can become high flyers.
We actually do hope that we get to that point. But let me ask this.
Yes, please.
What do you think is the relationship between human capacity development and innovation?
Technology. We're talking about the next, what you call technological wave, industrial revolution and all that. If you don't acquire the technical skill to know the use of this new technology, there's no way you can create value from it. Look at what's going on in the world now, the age of AI. In fact, 2 days ago, I was in a meeting discussing an investment opportunity with someone, We're talking about EVs. And I discovered that, like in Lagos, where I come from, for example, there are only 2 major EV charging stations in Lagos. Now, you will not know. Just two. You will not know if you don't do a research. Now, you do that research and you are able to create a business out of it. That information, you're leveraging on it and you're building wealth. So, people need to pay attention also in building and acquiring technological skill because the world has moved. And with the age of AI and technological advancement, we will do much more faster and achieve much more results than it is building cement and building sugar plants. I'll give you a practical scenario. This is not talking down on anyone, but in 2007, Elon Musk today was not on the Forbes list of the world's richest. As of 2007, the African's richest man, who is worth about $32 billion now, was worth about $1.8 billion as of then. Elon Musk arrived on the Forbes mainstream as of 2012. And his arrival, he came in with about 10 point something there, about $1 billion. Today, he's 950 something, $55 billion worth because he lost about $500 billion 2 days ago. He came down from the trillionaire level to about $958.5 billion worth. Now, study the pattern. Sliding right into this AI Gemini technological advancement age, because he kept on building and investing in that area, his wealth kept on increasing.
Okay.
See the trajectory. The guys who had been there were building maybe softwares like the IBMs, like the Microsofts and all that, the Jeff Bezos and all that, the supply chain, the e-commerce and everything. In Nigeria, you talk about the industrial revolution of the Aliko Dangotes and all that, staple foods, FMCGs. Now, is anything wrong with that? No. But somebody rose between 2012 and 2026 to $1 trillion worth just by technological advancement.
Okay. So that's in a nutshell, that's the connection.
Yeah, imagine that it's a nation that took 10 years or 15 or 20 years to invest in building technological assets.
I mean, if an individual can achieve that,
imagine what a nation will achieve.
Wow.
Yesterday, I was also listening to an interview by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and he said something very profound and striking. He said, governments have more money than private individuals. Yes. And I was curious for him to explain what he said, because the money the government has, private individuals don't have it. If government put as much money as private individuals put in developing the industries in their nations in Africa, Africa will not collect loan from any country in the world again. And it's the truth.
And the big question is, how many of his peers are thinking like him?
Of course, there are not so many of them. I don't think there are even up to 5 of them who think like it. The man is a genius. He's in his own world.
Well, I actually do wish that Africa has more geniuses to boast of.
We're coming up.
In case you're just joining us, it's still Flipside on Independent Television, and Dr. Stephen Oshoke is still right here with me, and we're discussing the role of human capacity development in nation building. We have to go on another break, and when we return, we up the ante a bit. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
All right, welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and Dr. Stephen is still right here in the building with me. Now, I would like to ask you this, Dr. Stephen. How do you think youth empowerment influences nation building? Because most times when we hear of youth empowerment, what comes to mind is financial support. So do you think,
rice
yeah, exactly. So, and then of course there's bags of rice. Do you consider that empowerment, or you think it goes beyond that?
Yeah, for me, empowerment goes beyond that. You know, the difference between empowerment and enablement. So I'll break it down. But before I go further, to really bringing about change as a nation in terms of human capacity development, government, private sector, civil society must collaborate.
Okay.
Must all come together. It takes more than just one arm of it to build, a nation in this regard. So, taking that and marrying it to the question you asked about empowerment and all of that. Nigerian youth in particular does not need empowerment. No. What we need is enablement.
So that sounds controversial.
I'll explain. We have already been empowered by technology.
Okay.
Which was not available.
Technology is enough empowerment for the youth?
Yes, which was not available in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s. In fact, in the early 2000s, you have to pay money to apply to have access to a cyber cafe to use the internet. But today, from your mobile phone, you can reach the world.
True.
You can create videos, you can write a book, you can do so many things. So that is enough empowerment in itself. So what we need now is an enabling environment for everybody to thrive and to be able to come into the fullness of their potentials.
And who should create that environment?
Government. It's government to create the environment. Government to create a level playing field, give us power supply, give us access to the internet. You know what I'm saying? That's enablement, right? We don't need rice anymore. We don't need bags of rice. We don't need those things. So sewing machine. Those are mundane.
In what category would you place rice? Empowerment or enablement?
That's stomach infrastructure. That's not even empowerment. It's stomach infrastructure. In fact, because I do a lot of charity myself.
Okay.
So I understand this very well. And in my charity, I have a charity for widows and orphans I do every December, and the minimum numbers is about 5,000 widows. And I've run that for about 11 years. So I can tell you
that's a lot.
Categorically that even though we give people food, we still have vocational skill training segments at our meetings. And the purpose for that is so that beyond just the rights we are giving to them, we create an enablement for them to be able to thrive and earn something for themselves. So that way they can become self-sufficient. It is enablement that gives room for self-sufficiency.
I guess that it's safe to say that that's tantamount to teaching people how to fish rather than giving them fish.
Yes, basically. So beyond just coming to give you rice, give you fish, give you food, give you sardine, we sit you down, teach you how to bake cake, how to make soap, how to do basic skills, basic things, fashion design, and then we back it up with the funding required to start up, so that we see your progress, we monitor you, and that is what we need. Another point of enablement basically is that Nigerian youth need mentorship. A lot, actually. We need more mentors now than ever before. Because now the propensity for the average Nigerian youth to make money now is fast. With the advent of social media and the internet.
So where do mentors come in?
Mentors come to help you, give you guidance, set control, create sort of an accountability program that helps to checkmate you from losing your head. Mentors come to show you the way. Oh, I've been there. You can have 100 million today and you can become broke 24 hours after. One bad decision, one wrong investment, one wrong association, everything goes down the drain. So you need a mentor now to say, no, this is how to invest, this is how to save, this is how to plan, this is what to do. We need more mentors now, ever than before. Because the propensity to become wayward is high. The propensity to become irresponsible is high. Everything is high now, both positively and negatively. So for me personally, I believe that we have gone beyond the level of empowerment. Now, we're in the level of enablement. Where we create opportunities for people to thrive. We create circumstances and situations and scenarios for people to succeed without worrying about who they know or who they don't know. I was telling some young people yesterday, I said success is not so much about how hard you work, about how smart you work. No. Success now is a lot more about leverage. It's about leverage. You can be the hardest worker and you have no result to show for it. You can be the smartest worker, you have the brain, you have the brilliance, no result to show for it. But somebody who doesn't have all those things and has leverage, you know what I'm saying? So leverage
So by leverage now you mean support system?
I like to use the word enablement, rather than support. It's usually heavily abused. So I rather use the word enablement. So if you create an enabling environment, it's okay, a young man who is skilled in an area, you don't have to you don't have to come from a state, you don't have to be an Isako person or a Benin person or an Esan person. As long as you have the competence to do the job, bid for the job, go through the process. If you qualify for it, you get the job. You get what I'm saying? And then if you create that kind of system and everybody knows that they don't need to lobby or hustle, they will pay more attention in building the capacity for that when the opportunity comes.
That's quite a lot, and I must say it's an eye opener for for a lot of persons out there. And I'm hoping that the people concerned are actually taking notes. Now, here's another question.
Okay.
What challenges? Because I think it's imperative that we look critically into the hindrances. All right. So, what challenges do you think hinder human capacity development in developing nations? I guess it's safe to consider Nigeria a developing nation.
Yes, for now.
Even though some persons will
even though I don't like the term calling.
Okay.
We should be. I mean, we're talking about Singapore and Brazil now. They are in first world nations now, and as of 1960, Nigeria was far ahead of those two nations. But today, now those guys are first world nation. We are still battling with developing nation. Why? Leadership failure.
Okay.
And the root cause of leadership failure is lack of human capacity development.
Okay.
We invested a lot of time in chasing money and oil money, and building roads and building infrastructure. We forgot about developing the leadership capacity to manage the wealth when it's coming.
Okay, so what factors would you say pose a hindrance to the human capacity development
In Nigeria today, as a developing
yes.
nation, we talk about the deprivation, poverty, which is the anchor point upon which all of it thrives. Lack of qualitable healthcare system. People will think more about how to be alive first than thinking about how to go to school. People will think more about how to eat, what to wear.
But isn't that part of human nature? Survival instinct.
That is not just about survival instinct anymore. That for me, it is the result of the deprivation syndrome. Because every nation that develops must go through process, must go through sacrifices. There must be certain things that you must give up as a people to say, we want to make this sacrifice for our nation. Look at the story of Singapore. People had to give up a whole lot because somebody had a vision that says, I know that this will work, but for it to work, we need to make sacrifices for today. And they made those sacrifices. Today, Singapore is a city-state, and it is one of the most successful nations in the world today. Where was Singapore in 1960? Where was Nigeria as at the time of independence in 1960? You see the difference? As at that time, Nigeria was loaning nations money. But today, the difference, and the reason for that result is exclusively investing in human capacity development. So, poverty is one of the problems. Ethnicity is also a problem. This whole tribalism, this whole our culture, this is how we do it here, this is how we do it here. That in itself will limit people from harnessing the riches or the value that comes from investing in themselves and developing capacity, to develop. Another thing, majorly, like I call it the ignorance syndrome. And ignorance syndrome here is not ignorance in itself. It's about people who don't know, but think they know.
Okay, that's pretty interesting because it suggests that it's one thing not to know.
Not to know, and acknowledge that you don't know.
So some persons
some people don't know, but
they do not even realize that they don't know. Okay.
And then year in, year out, making progress, growing. It takes the humility to know that I don't know this thing. I need to acquire the skill to know it. I need to get the information to know it. I need to get the knowledge to know it. And when you get the knowledge, you can now apply that information acquired. It is the application of the information that now produces the result. So, but when you don't have any of it, you don't have any result to produce. So year in, year out, you remain the same. Nations will keep flying over our heads. And look at it, Japan, South Korea, for example, China, like that's even the senior brother. What has led to the development of these nations? Human capacity development. Invest in building technology. And it is people that build technology. It means that some people sat down to research 10, 15, 20 years research. The things we are seeing now in AI and all these electric cars we are seeing now were things we watched in movies as at 1980 and early 90s. The spaceship, starship troopers, how you saw flying cars, how you saw cars that walked on water, you saw cars on EV. They said these cars are electric cars, it doesn't use gasoline.
And I guess those things were projections back then.
Product of research and research and research and research. What researches are we doing as a nation? Are we preparing 10, 15, 20 years from today? No. We are not. We are busy about politics. And young people are busy on social media, want to become content creators. Wow. It's the truth. So nobody is really looking at what would the world look like in 20, 30 years' time. And the only way we can do that is by investing in research work, building solutions that meet the need of the future when it comes. And that's how we are able to get wealth. That's how we're able to get wealth. So we're not paying that price because of the deprivation, the poverty, the lack of information, the lack of the willingness on the part of government now, for example, to also make certain sacrifices. And if that subsists, everybody becomes complacent and lukewarm. And years will pass.
So don't look.
Months will pass. Days will pass. Still remain the same.
Okay. Okay. I mean, you painted quite a gloomy picture right there. And, I mean,
but it's good. I personally like this show and these conversations we're having because we need to now start having a lot more of these kind of conversations, particularly for my generation, to understand. And the funny thing is that I'll say this here. I mean, I'm happy that this is the live program. The funny thing is that you can be educated at the highest level and still be wealthy. Yeah, you can, and not everybody must make money from social media.
So, what you're saying in essence is that education is not an antithesis to, wealth making.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because that's the impression that we get.
No,
nowadays.
And they are selling a narrative that pushes young people out of school, and it's working for some people. But we need to now start talking that no. This message you guys are passing now is wrong. Our children must still go to school. We must still place value on the dignity of labor, as it's called. Okay. We must still place emphasis on building technological capacity and competence. We must still place emphasis on building either academical or non-academical knowledge and skill acquisition. Because a time will come that people will have money and don't know what to do with the money.
So money becomes a problem.
Money becomes a problem.
To its owner.
Yes. And the only way you can know what to do with the money is by sense. Let me borrow your term, common sense. And the only way you can develop that common sense is by acquiring information, knowledge, which is a product of education.
Education and then skill. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen. We have to go on another break. It's still Flipside on Independent Television. The program continues afterwards. Please stay tuned.
ITV. ITV, certainly the best.
Okay, welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and we're discussing human capacity development and its impact on nation building. Now, you made mention of other nations, in comparison to Nigeria, and actually I got curious at some point. Okay, what is it that they are doing right that you think we can take a cue from in terms of human capacity development?
Firstly, education is very free and cost effective in most of these countries. It's very accessible. In Nigeria, education is quite expensive, really expensive. So most of those nations, because the government policy backed, investing a lot in, and they made it very attractive, even to foreign students to, want to go there too. So I think the government can take a cue from that, make education, and the government does not need to give loans, really. All the government needs to do is regulate the market, provide subsidies to the institutions by either building research labs or part funding, even to private institutions as well, so that their fees can be heavily subsidized for the what you call the common man.
Yeah.
I see no reason why government institutions should be expensive. Personally, this is me personally talking. And because of the level of deprivation and poverty, people will struggle to go to school. So government needs to invest in that area. And it's not about giving loans. You know, the current government has what they call NEL fund. It's not about that really. It's more about an institutional framework.
But do you think that's making any impact whatsoever?
I mean, I don't want to delve into government business and all
Right.
that, but you look at things sustainably on the long run. I feel that if Singapore says that, in fact, let me not even use Singapore, that's even too far now. Burkina Faso now, as we speak today, now, the current government has an education policy of free education across board to tertiary level, and they have a 50% tuition rate for private institutions. In fact, they are even trying to shut down private institutions in Burkina Faso. Why? So as to encourage Burkina babes to go to school. I take you back to the early 60s and the early 70s in Nigeria, when Nigeria was still running the regional system of government. What was the powerhouse of the West? Awolowo's free education policy.
Yeah.
That was the powerhouse of the West. And that was why the West today seems to be more advanced than other regions in the country. It's education. So if somebody did it then, and it worked, and the region is still supposedly benefiting from it,
And
it
still,
means
you
that
know,
it's
that
still relevant.
seems to be superior to the other regions.
Absolutely. So that is still relevant till tomorrow. So government needs to go back
To the drawing board.
that drawing board and invest a lot in education, whether it is formal education, whether it is informal education, whether it is vocational, whether it is skill. That is where the juice is. That's where it is. I mean, it's just very practical in our eyes. Look at the northern region. They were busy with commerce and business, and they didn't bother about building human capacity development for their people. See where we are dealing with today as a nation. Why is crime rate high from that end? Because of lack of education. And that's the truth. It's the root cause. We can try to politicize it, but that is the fundamental reason why it is so. The average Jordan doesn't know what ABCD is. They don't care about it because they were not raised to care about it. They were told, oh, politics, business, mishai, do your thing, make your money, and all that. But back up here, somebody says, I want to give my people free education, and see the difference. Go back to the UAE, Dubai precisely. The current ruler of Dubai said, you know what, I want my people to be the best in everything. And the beginning point, he started investing in education. So we cannot overemphasize the importance, the efficacy of education with nation building and building strong institutions, because it is people that build a nation. And it is the quality of people that determines the kind of nation that will be built. It is people that build a nation. So when you have a nation that is being run by charlatans and illiterates and people who don't even, I don't want to go into some of those, but you can see the results. I was watching something early this morning. Somebody said that Nigerians should go and start frying akara and selling kuli kuli. That is the way they can come out of poverty. See what else? You can imagine. It is 2026.
The mindset.
A government is saying that the only way people can become self-sufficient and independent, economically viable,
To take up many
go and sell
businesses,
akara
jobs.
and sell kuli kuli. Not even saying that, oh, we want to set up kuli kuli manufacturing factory and run it as a national commodity at scale, because we have the mineral resources, we have the human resources. Not that, But saying people can start kuli subsistent level, what value will that bring to the economy? What value will that bring to the nation? So, and that kind of statement only tells you also the quality of the mind of that person. You see the difference, right? You know, when I did my program in Harvard Business School, part of the thesis they gave us then was to study about Unilever, you know, how Unilever became what it is, and the research work was with Unilever Kenya. And they said that the reason why Unilever blew and became extremely successful was because it practiced what they call inclusive leadership. And that inclusive leadership here is giving everybody a stakeholdership in the business. So a supplier is not just a supplier is also a stakeholder in the business. So more like you have 1% or you have 2% or you have 3% or you have something. So by virtue of your stake in the business, you must ensure the business succeeds. So we need to, and it is also a product of development, education, knowledge. So people who don't have it can't tell you how to become wealthy. They will tell you how to fry akara and kuli.
The simple case of you can't give what you don't have.
You can't give what you don't have. You can never give what you don't have. And it's the truth. Because you don't have it. You have never been able to create wealth. You have not taken time to study, to acquire competence, to acquire capacity, to acquire the skills of knowing how, okay, we have a granite pyramid in the north, for example. How can we commercialize that at a scale that will begin to export kuli to other parts of the world? That we export will bring us foreign direct investment. That investment will bring us more jobs. That more jobs will also create opportunity for further research. So what other products can we make out of this? Research will come in. And the more you research, the more discoveries you get. The more products you provide. The more products you provide, the more solution and the more money you make. So kuli can still drive national development if somebody sits down and does it the right way. That's the truth. As we call it kuli, as small as it is, it can become an export commodity. We buy chocolates from Europe,
Absolutely.
from South Africa. Is that not also export commodity?
It is, yeah.
Our kuli too can also be chocolate.
True.
Yes, that we can export. It's our own. They don't have kuli in America. But we buy chocolates from them. We export container load of chocolates from America. Who says we cannot export container loads of kuli from here?
Perhaps our people think that they might not find it, enjoyable.
Try it first. Who knew that you can enjoy chocolate?
Chocolate, true.
And we have black chocolate, which is not so sweet. You have the sweetened chocolate.
And in all fairness, I understand that there are lots of Caucasians who enjoy some of our stuff, some of our products.
If you go, do you know that Nigerian restaurants abroad are the most expensive? Yes, if you go to Europe or you go to Dubai, you want to buy Nigerian food, Nigerian restaurant is twice expensive as the normal Arabian food you eat there. Why? Because anything that is rare is expensive.
Yeah,
normal economic principle.
High demand.
High demand. So who says that and it's not about private individual now.
Okay.
It is a government business. Because only government will have the money to do it at scale. Do you know the thousands of young people that will be employed in those factories? If government says they want to set up one factory in the 6 geopolitical zones, that's 6 factories.
6 factories.
At an average of 100,000 employees. You know what I mean? That's 600,000 employees. Will Nigerian graduates come out of school and be looking for jobs?
Absolutely not.
Do farmers have to worry about their groundnuts? The natural resource is there. Government does not even need to plant it. Farmers are ready. The idea is there. People will plant it in my village. They plant groundnuts every day. You plant it. Government goes and collects as what you call off-takers, and it's distributed across the 6 geopolitical zones. Government does the refining, the packaging, and it's exported. Government is making foreign direct investment directly. I was telling my friend one day, I said, I have a vision of setting up an agro-allied processing plant, here in Edo State, in my place and all that. And basically it's just extracting and refining and packaging what we have here and for export purposes. That will become an income generation revenue source to the government. Someday. I don't know when the day will come, but someday.
Someday, maybe some good time in the
Yeah,
future.
someday.
Now, you are an Edo indigene, right?
Yes,
And
I
we
am.
understand that you are from Edo State, and I would like to know what role you have played so far, or you're still playing, or you're willing to play to support human capacity development in Edo State.
Very brilliant, very brilliant. So far, since the beginning of last year, when I decided to go public with my personal development, drive, I've been to Edo State now. This is the sixth time I've been here.
Interesting.
And basically, I've not come here for any other business than, canvassing young people, mobilizing young people to, coach them, talk to them about business, about career development, personal success, and all that. Because I believe strongly that you cannot be a star outside, and in your house there are no stars. I also believe strongly that our stars should not be comedians and content creators only from Edo State. People should see us across the world as producing doctors, engineers, professors, highly intellectual, highly successful, top corporate CEOs. Because suddenly now today, the people that are supposed to be the face of Edo State are comedians and content creators. So it's making it look like all of us in Edo State are, the best of us is content creation and comedy.
Yeah.
So I've been taking time to, invest with my personal resources, talking to young people, and we're also supporting some schools, as God will help us to do. I'm also willing to serve my state at whatever level.
Okay.
Yes, I'm willing. I believe that
On the government level,
both
because you don't
governments-
sound like you are keen on having anything to do with the
Politics.
government today.
No, I don't personally have any interest with being with the government, but yes, in terms of business and commerce, I believe I can serve my people. So I'm also thinking of coming to set up some stuff here and to create jobs here as well. And then, provide this training and mentorship program, this coaching thing for free. Just come.
Wow, amazing.
Talk to my people. And we're doing that already with the Stephen Enike Global Business Consulting, which is driven like a charity.
Okay.
Based exclusively.
But not a non-governmental
Not a
organization.
non-governmental job, but just, purely driven like a non-profit, but not to the face of a, an NGO and all that. Because everything we have done since the inception is entirely pro bono. Meetings we've had, conferences we've had, under that auspices is entirely pro bono. Yes.
Wow, amazing. I must say that's pretty commendable. Now, we are actually pressed for time right
No
now.
problem.
Time is never our friend on this program. But, lastly, I know you've said a lot about what you're doing, in terms of empowering young people. Now, do you currently have an existing platform that promotes human capacity development?
Yes. The Stephen Enike Global Business Consulting exclusively, that's the forte. Under that, we also have the Paradigm Shift Conference, which we've had 2 editions in Lagos last year. We're also having a 3rd edition in September this year in Abuja.
Wow.
So what do we do with that purpose vehicle is to converge, I call it a constellation of stars. Gather people
Bright minds.
together, we share secrets and strategies on how to achieve anything you desire to achieve, whether in career, whether in business, whether in politics, anything. So we bring different people, successful people, highly successful, notable people who have track record without any criminal history. Because we have built a brand of credibility. I've done business, God helping me, 12 straight years, and I have not had any financial impropriety or any problem. I've not had any legal issue, nothing. So our brand is entirely heavily based on credibility. So the people we bring to our conferences are people who have genuine story to tell from grass. I don't like to use the word grass to grace, but we call it organic wealth. So we're teaching people how to build organic. You don't have to cut corners, you don't have to steal. They are just secrets you need to know.
Basic secrets.
Yeah, they are secrets that you need to acquire. They are information you need to know to do things different from the way you have been doing them. And so far, we have had over 1,500 young people across board through our programs. And for the meeting we have coming up in Benin also on Saturday, I'm personally excited about it because we're looking at gathering about 1,000 young people, students. We're talking to them about the journey to becoming. It's also a vehicle to teach, to coach, to mentor them into becoming people who will be useful to the society. Because not everybody can become useful to society.
Okay.
But everybody must become something.
Absolutely.
So our focus is to help people become useful to society.
And to themselves.
Useful to themselves. Useful to their families, useful to their communities.
All right.
Because the more people we have who are useful to themselves and society, the less crime we would have.
Yes, the less crime we would have in the society. Dr. Emeka Stephen Oshoke. I hope I got that right. Maybe not in the right order. But
So my name is Stephen Oshoke Enike Matthew.
Okay.
Thank
you so very much for being on the show. I mean, it's been a very, very interesting conversation so far. I have learned a lot, and I must say, I'm curious to know more about your organization. But once again, I want to say a big thank you to you for being a part of the show. All right, it's been an amazing show. It's been Flipside on Independent Television, and we'll be taking a look at human capacity development and its impact on nation building. I've had Dr. Stephen Emeka right here in the building with me, and we've had a very, very interesting conversation. Now, I believe a word is enough for the wise, so we really cannot overemphasize the need for human capacity development in nation building. It has worked in other nations, and I'm very sure that it can work here in our nation. It's been an amazing show, and I want to say a big thank you to you out there for being a part of the show. My name is Harry Igboje, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and have yourself a blessed day ahead. Bye for now.